We are asked to verify the following identity. 1 plus cosecant t divided by cotangent t plus cosine t is equal to secant t. In order to solve this problem, we will write these down as their reciprocal relationships, or 1 plus 1 over sine t, all divided by cosine t over sine t plus cosine t. In order to look at the numerator, we will have to find a common denominator to add, which is the sine of t. So we will multiply 1 by sine t over sine t to get us an numerator of the sine t plus 1 all over sine t. Likewise, if we would add our denominators, the fractions in our denominators, we would need to multiply cosine of t by sine t over sine t, giving us the cosine of t plus cosine of t sine t all over sine t. If we invert and multiply, we will get sine t plus 1 over sine t times sine t all over, well, if I factor out the cosine, I'd get cosine of t times 1 plus sine t. I will recognize that things will start to cancel. Sine t plus 1 will cancel to make 1, as well as sine t and sine t, so I get 1 over cosine of t, which is indeed equal to the secant of t. In our next problem, we were asked to verify the identity 1 divided by tangent of t plus cotangent of t is equal to sine t cosine of t. Again, in order to solve this problem, we will write it in its reciprocal form, or write it with sines and cosines, where the sine of tangent of t is sine t over cosine t, and cotangent is cosine t over sine t. Looking at the denominator, to add those fractions, I would have to find the common denominator, which is a product of cosine and sine. So I would take my second fraction and multiply it by the cosine of t, and my first fraction by the sine of t over sine of t. Now what I have is 1 over sine squared t plus cosine squared t all over cosine t times sine t. I would recognize that sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1, so now I have 1 over cosine t times sine t. Inverting and multiplying, I would get 1 times cosine of t times sine of t, which is our answer. Finally, we'll look at one that we did in class, secant of x plus cosecant of x minus cosine minus sine. Changing secant into its reciprocal of 1 over cosine of x, and cosecant into its reciprocal of 1 over sine x. Then we're going to subtract off cosine of x and sine x. We want to know what fractions that we want to add together, so we get sine x times tangent x. I would recognize that I eventually would want a sine squared. I would have a sine squared in my numerator, so I'm going to combine 1 divided by sine x minus sine x by multiplying sine x by itself in numerator and denominator. Therefore, I have 1 over sine x minus sine squared of x over sine x. I would do the same thing for cosine, to subtract 1 over cosine minus cosine. Finding that common denominator, I'm going to get 1 over cosine of x minus cosine squared of x over cosine of x. We will now recognize that I would have 1 minus sine squared x over sine x, and 1 minus sine squared x is equal to cosine squared of x. I would have 1 minus cosine squared x in the numerator of the other one, which is the sine squared of x all over the cosine squared of x, all over cosine of x. We will notice that this is cosine times cosine, so I have cosine over sine, or cotangent of x times cosine of x, plus sine over cosine, or the tangent of x, times the sine of x, which is just what I needed.